From the beginning, I've always stood about transparency. Anything to do as it relates to the integrity of the office of the people, anything that has to do with keeping this community safe, I will always be that voice. Somebody has to be the voice of reason. This is not about politics. This is not about partisans. It's about the safety of our community and what's best and what works for our community. As most of you all saw a news feed that the sheriff's office had overspent or miscounted the money, 1.2 million, that we overspent, or overrun was the verbiage that they used. I would encourage you, and we're going to make it possible for you to see the video online as to what took place in that meeting. What I can tell you is that $800,000 of that was never appropriated for the inmate's medical bill. Never. 600,000 of that, I'll just give you the number. 600,000 was not in the budget for off-site inmate care. What that means is when someone is in the jail across the street, and our medical provider, NavCare, says that they have to be sent out to the hospital. We have to send them out to the hospital. Someone has to cover that bill. They missed that number by 600,000 that they didn't put in the budget for that. Someone had to pay for that. 140,000 for inmate food services. They missed that. It wasn't put in the budget. If you go back and you fact check it, the county manager, she said that's not their fault. But here's where my issue is. When you talk about overtime, everything is relevant. If we send inmates, residents, whatever you prefer to call them, to the hospital, that means we have to send security to sit with them the entire time they're there. That is a cost. That is a cost that has to be paid. There's another issue that I think needs to be explained. We have an agreement called animal services. What that agreement is, and I'll let Major Loveland go into detail with you about it, but what that agreement is that the Forsyth County Sheriff's Office will cover the city and the county. I appreciate you, Commissioner Woodbury, thank you, will be responsible for animal services inside the city. I want you to know that when that agreement was made over 2-3 decades ago, that we would do it for 1-800-FREE. No one took in the fact of the growth of this community, where we had about 400,000. No one took into account the number of animals, pets, that will be in the city. 80% of our calls are in the city. And again, we do it for 1-800-FREE. Every morning, my men and women wake up, they're already 50 calls behind on animal services. That means they wake up and go to work and they 50 behind. Fact check it. So in order to keep up with that, we have to put manpower or allow them to work over just to even be that many behind. So my issue and the conversation that I had, that I was over budgeted day one, because the day before the budget came to pass, I was under budgeted. That was my argument. And so I'm going to pause for a minute and let Major Loveland explain to you the agreement that was struck, how it was struck, and how it is affecting the budget as we speak now.
Good afternoon, everyone. Major Van Loveland with the Forsyth County Sheriff's Office. What I have here is the original agreement from 1967 and 1968 between the city and the county in reference to the animal services. And I'll just read a snippet of it here from the resolution from the city when they passed this, and it was done on December the 13th, or July the 11th of 1968. It says, "Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Aldermen of the City of Winston-Salem, upon the recommendation of the city manager and the Finance Committee, that the City of Winston-Salem contribute its share to the cost of constructing an animal shelter. This amount being 1/3 of the total estimated cost, or $40,000, and further contribute any equipment now used in its control program, such equipment to be designated by the city manager." Further resolved in this resolution was that such contributions are subject to the following conditions: that the County of Forsyth assume full responsibility for the animal control program for the entire county, which includes the City of Winston-Salem, and that the County of Forsyth adopt such resolutions as be necessary to ensure the City of Winston-Salem shall receive the same level of service that the whole county receives. As the sheriff said, typically our animal services officers, they investigate about 1,000 calls per month. So that's 12,000 calls per year. They are anywhere between 50 and 60 calls down every single morning when they come in. So they're constantly trying to play catch up. And that is all done for the generous amount of $40,000 that was given to the county 57 years ago. Since then, it has been done for free by the county. And that is the reason for a lot of the overtime that is spent related to animal services. Thanks, Sheriff.
Thank you. One of the things I like to do is we're going to show you a slide presentation so that you can see dollar for dollar what the sheriff's office has spent and how it was spent. I want you to understand something. As the sheriff of this county, people in this city pay county taxes. Therefore, they're entitled to county services. It is not fair to the people of this city to say we'll give you animal services, but we won't give you human services of the patrol or safety. It's not fair to say that we're not going to budget you to do those things in the city. Because at the end of the day, I will never compromise the safety of this community, this city, over dollars and cents when it don't make good sense. I will never do that. I have to make decisions every day that involve working collaboratively with the police chief, Kernersville, the district attorney's office, Mr. O'Neill. I have an obligation to make sure this entire county and this city is safe. The question that I have to adjust every day is, how do I make that work? If I get called from business owners downtown saying, we need help downtown in the city of Winston-Salem, do I say, no, I cannot do it because the budget that they gave me will not allow me to do it? When we have festivals in this city, when we have homecomings in this city, and after the games and the people come back downtown, do you realize that if they cut services, minimize the service, minimize the budget, it will affect the safety of this community? So I'm going to pause again, and I'm going to yield to Mr. Yance to let him present so you will see exactly where the numbers and how they play out.
Good afternoon. My name is Stephen Yance, and I'm the Director of Business Operations for the Sheriff's Office. The Sheriff has asked me to provide additional clarity regarding the recently reported budget discrepancies we've heard about. Currently, the County Budget Office is projecting a $1.13 million funding shortfall, primarily driven by non-discretionary required expenses. As you can see from the slide, approximately 71%, or $800,000, is attributed to the off-site inmate medical care and food services, both of which are mandated by law. This includes roughly $660,000 for off-site inmate medical care, and again, the $140,000 for food services. State Regulation 10A of the North Carolina Admin Code 14J.0902 requires that each detention facility provide at least 3 meals per day for every inmate. Additionally, North Carolina General Statute 153A-225.2 requires that inmates have access to necessary medical care, including emergency services. The need for off-site medical treatment is determined by medical providers, which includes NAVCare or responding EMS. Due to recent legal changes and changes in our society, the detention center population has increased, and inmates are staying for a longer period of time. As you can see from the top two slides, it does show our average inmate population and our length of stay, and they consistently are increasing. At the same time, we are seeing a decline in overall inmate health and a rise in healthcare costs. These factors have significantly increased off-site medical expenses are in the major contributing factor to the shortfall. And the two lower slides shows that as well, your food services and your inmate cost. I do want to draw your attention to the inmate medical cost. So as you can see, we are experiencing a major increase in that category. As mentioned, another contributing factor is overtime. After accounting for some salary savings, overtime is projected to account for approximately $313,000 or 21% of the shortfall. This is largely due to improved staffing levels compared to prior years. While increased hiring has helped reduce staff burnout and reliance on overtime, it has also reduced the salary savings we used to use to offset these costs. Even with this, overtime is still expected to be $1 to $1.2 million lower than the past few fiscal years. So we are making progress in this category. The top drivers for overtime include, as been mentioned, the hospital duty when an inmate is taken to the emergency room or admitted to the hospital, animal services, and saturation patrols. As always, the Sheriff's Office works consistently throughout the year to work efficiently and to minimize or eliminate any budget shortfalls. These current efforts include limiting purchases to essential equipment and supplies, reducing overtime expenditures where feasible, absorbing increased operational and janitorial costs at the detention center due to the higher inmate population, only hiring safety-sensitive positions, which includes deputies and detention officers, and working with county management to identify additional saving measures or alternative funds that we can use. Thank you.
So what I'd like to do now is that so that you have a true understanding of what is taking place when he speaks about overtime budget, saturation patrol, downtown patrol. And so I want you to understand how we working together has reduced the crime rate in this city. And for that, so that you don't have to take my word, the police chief wanted to share the value of working together, the value of collaboration and working inside and helping inside of the city. Appreciate you, Chief.
Good afternoon, William Penn, Winston-Salem Police Department. You've all heard us talk about saturation patrol in our community. Saturation patrol is actually hotspots policing, which is a strategy, a proven strategy of diverting resources to problem geographic areas. Over the past several years, the police department and the sheriff's department have participated in hotspots policing for areas where we've had an uptick in crime. And we've seen that crime be reduced as a result of that. Let me be clear. Can the police department operate without the sheriff's office? Yes. Do we get a better product in our community when we have those resources, particularly in those areas? Absolutely. So we do work together, and we do that well. You've seen nationwide the TikTok teen takeover. It's happening across the nation. And we've had agencies as far as Indianapolis call us and ask us how we're dealing with that. And what they've marveled is the fact that we have a relationship with our District Attorney Jim O'Neill and our Sheriff's Office so that we can do that together. 400 teenagers ascending upon any area in any city in the United States is going to require help from others. That's not something that can be accomplished alone. But we're working together. We need the Sheriff's Office when we have those issues. We need the District Attorney to prosecute parents who aren't doing what they're supposed to do when that takes place. And we need parents to actually be engaged and know where their children are so that we don't have to deal with this. But as it stands, there's only one thing that we're concerned about at the police department, and that's keeping our community safe. And we do that through partnerships.
I appreciate that, Chief. Before I bring Mr. O'Neill up, the district attorney, I want you to understand something. What he said is that at the end of the day, a better product, us working together, needing, helping each other. That would be like your neighbor having an issue at their house and you having the ability to help your neighbor, but say, no, I'm not going to do it. While there are some that sit across the street and say, if it's a city problem, let the city handle it. I'm not built like that. If there's an issue in the city, let the city figure it out. We're not built like that. Because the people of this county and the city elected the sheriff of this office, the office of the people. We have an obligation to the city. If we have an obligation to animal services in the city, then you can bet we have an obligation to the public safety. My whole issue has been fund us at the rate that allows us to provide services for this community. Because when you start cutting costs and cutting services, you're playing with the safety of a community. So I'm going to yield before I come back and take questions. I'd like to bring up Mr. Jim O'Neill from the District Attorney's Office.
Jim O'Neill, Forsyth County District Attorney. This today is not about politics. Politics got nothing to do with it. This is all about one thing, and that's figuring out a way to keep this community safe. What we are fortunate to have, what I am fortunate to have between the three of us up here, the heads of law enforcement, Chief Penn, Sheriff Kimber, and myself, are more than 100 years collectively of law enforcement experience. Been down the roads, understand what works, what doesn't work, study what's happened in other cities, other counties, so we don't repeat their mistakes. We're blessed here in Forsyth County. You wake up today in a place like Forsyth County, the numbers are staggering. And again, these are all easily checked. Over the last 5 years in this community, homicide rates are down 13%. Rape is down 23%. Aggravated assault, which is robberies, shootings, stabbings, anywhere where somebody does not pass away, down 13%. Burglaries down 13%. Motor vehicle thefts down 13%. The numbers are coming down. We are so blessed and fortunate to live where we live. This is a safe place. This is an urban city. We have hospitals, we have restaurants, we have great shopping. We have all these things because people feel safe, okay? The gentleman that stand next to me, that we get up and we talk every single day on the phone, every single day. Not a weekend goes by that the three of us are not talking to figure out what we can do to keep this community safer, sharing videos that we catch online to try and figure out where the hot spots are going to come that night. I often talk to these gentlemen more than I talk to my own wife during the course of the day, and that's the true statement. We're lucky where we are. We're fortunate. We're blessed. There are urban cities in this state that don't wake up, that people don't feel safe going to an ATM machine. That's not where we live. It's not about politics today. It's about trying to keep this community safe, just the way we're heading. I thank the sheriff. I thank his efforts. I thank our police chief. I thank his efforts every day. The sheriff needs to be funded appropriately to continue getting the job done. The collaborative work that I'm part of every single day, listening to them figure out how they're going to avoid a shooting, how they're going to avoid a teen takeover. These conversations happen every day. We have to support law enforcement. We have to support the law enforcement budgets. You want to be safe, you want to live in a community safe, it's not free. There's a cost for that. And I ask you, and I ask the public, to continue supporting our men and women in law enforcement, support the leaders of these two agencies, because it's so important for our quality of life here in Winston-Salem, Forsyth County. Thank you.
I want to finish up before we take questions. Mr. O'Neill said something that is relevant. The safety of a community is not partisan. It's bipartisan. The safety of this community is about us waking up every day, making it a better place for people to want to shop, come, and live. But I have a question that resonates and has stained my mind. But before I put the question on the table, I'm reminded of what he just said, and that was simply, in 5 years, these numbers are coming down, have come down, and that is because of the collaboration that has taken place here. Make no mistake about it. If I adopt the rhetoric and the theory of let the city take care of the city, you worry about Louisville, Clemens, the question I ask, what is that code for? All I'm saying is this. As the sheriff of this county, I'm going to serve everybody in this county. But the question that stains my mind is simply this. How and why are we in such a financial crisis right now with county money? That's the question that is relevant, and that's the question that is important. Anytime someone questions the integrity of this office, the office of the people, the men and women that serve in this community, we will always stand up and we will always do what we always do, and that's transparency. I thank you for your time. I ask you to get involved in this budget process. I encourage you to watch the entire video in its entirety. We have handouts if you'd like to take some with you. So the next time somebody say he or they or them spent $1 million over the budget, you'll know that 800,000 of it they never budgeted for. And you got to ask yourself the question, why didn't they budget for the medical fees of inmates? Well, maybe that's how they thought of them. But regardless of how you think of them, you still have to take care of them at a level that's sufficient. And you have to feed them. And as it relates to me putting men and women on the street for the safety of this community, make no mistake about it. I would do it again, 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 and again. And as a matter of fact, we're going to be out there this Saturday. Saturday in downtown Winston. I thank you all for being here. Commissioner, I can't thank you enough for your support, for showing up. That means a lot to me and to this community. It means a lot for all of you, especially you, Mr. O'Neill. You too, my partner in crime fighting, all of you. I love you guys. I'll open the floor for questions. Yes, ma'am. I saw you in the middle.
Hi, Sheriff Kimber. Lauren
How you
here
doing?
from WFMY. I'm all right. How are you?
I've been better.
I understand. So I've been speaking with Chairman Don Martin this morning, and he sent over a statement before the press conference started just with regards to all of this. And one of the things he points out is that, according to him, the county is going to use fund balance to pay for those $800,000 related to inmate health care costs. And that still leaves an additional $300,000 over budget. What's your response to that?
Here's what I'm going to tell you my response to it is. I'm going to give you the response that the county manager gave me. This is a mess that I have inherited, and this can has been kicked down the road so long that they can't kick it anymore. The next response to that is this. The $20 million capital project that is long overdue for services and work at the detention center has now come to where you can't kick that can down the road. So take the message back and share the message, and the message is simple. You either pay on the front end or you pay on the back end. When you pay on the back end, the price is more. Because here's what I will tell you. Go do the research on the capital project. All of you that's journalists, do some investigation. Why are we doing a $20 million capital project now? You know why? Because we, in the words of my county manager, and I love her, and she's doing a magnificent job, she just, in her words, she inherited a mess. But please don't put that mess on the office of the people. please make sure you give him that back.
We see that inmate stays have increased. What do you attribute that to?
Well, that probably would be a DA's question. I don't decide how long an inmate stays incarcerated. That's above my pay grade, way above it. So that would be something that maybe the district attorney could answer that question for you. But here's what I would tell you. Regardless of how long they stay there, whether they stay there 1 day or 100 days, I have an obligation to make sure that they're secured. But here's the other piece. The county is responsible for the health of the inmates. That's called public health. So if you don't fund it at a sufficient level, where is the money coming from? And here's the question, going back to you, not to go back and forth, but why are you going to pay for it now? Why didn't you budget it on the front end? You know where that comes from? As Mr. O'Neill said, there's 100 years plus between the three of us. By law, we would be considered experts in the field that we operate in. How do you tell the surgeon how to do the surgery, what tools are going to be needed for the surgery, and how much the price of the tools and the surgery going to cost? It would appear to me that you would consult and say, what are your recommendations? And when we give you recommendations, don't treat them like we don't know what we're talking about. That's why we are the experts in this area. That's simple, because we wouldn't be here.
Has being under budgeted, as you call it, been a problem in the past? Has it been trending downwards where you've noticed in the past few fiscal years you've been receiving less and less money from the county that you say is needed for your department?
I'm gonna let my account manager answer that question. Here's what I'm gonna tell you, and you can fact check this. Please, Mr. Henry, you used to fact check a lot of things. Please fact check it. I have been asking for manpower since day one. I have. If I ask for 7 in the first year, and you don't give me that, and then the next year comes around, and you give me 3, you haven't met the demands of my need. Now, does the county give me adequate money? Adequate is relevant. That's the key. Does it give me enough to do what I need to do without, as they say, going over budget? No. Because if they did, we wouldn't over budget. If they had given this $800,000 for inmate care, which is their responsibility, how dare you say I'm over budget when the $800,000 you responsible for? How dare you say that? That's an insult to my intelligence. But would you like to answer the question as relates to the budget amount over the last couple of years?
Thank you for your question. I do apologize. I've only been here since last August, so I'm not going to know everything. But I do know for a fact from recent conversations that we have, towards the end of every fiscal year, the sheriff's office, we have to look at ways to sacrifice to be able to try to meet those county budgets, including deferring training that we need, deferring equipment and supplies that we need. So yes, to answer your question, having a tight budget has become a normal trend, and we do try to work within that. But sometimes when it keeps getting tighter and tighter and your needs keep growing in the market that we live in now, there is just a point where it comes to a head.
Question for you, actually. When we look at the number for off-site inmate medical services, that $660,000, does that include the overtime that it costs to have deputies there, or is that just solely for medical costs?
That is solely just
Solely
offset.
medical costs.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So would that, sorry, to follow up on that, would the extra officers who are with the inmates at that time, would that fall into the overtime category?
Exactly, exactly, exactly.
Sheriff, last year, you actually spoke with my coworker Bailey Stamos back in May about the budget, and you weren't asking for that $800,000. To know that we're here and you're needing that $1 million, what does that feel like to you?
You know what that feels like to me? I get frustrated. Let me tell you why. Because, see, I get the emails and the silliness from ignorant people online saying that, oh, they just like the school system, they mismanage money. When people don't know the facts, people don't know what it takes to run a sheriff's office. People don't know that the expertise that sit between the three of us, we utilize it. And it's very disheartening to ask for something, and I'm glad you brought that up, that I asked for it last year, and then this year you didn't give it to me, and then you went over budget. I didn't go over budget. You went under budget because you are required to cover the health care costs of the inmate/residents. The county is responsible for that. The county, not me. Yes, ma'am.
We still have a few weeks left in this fiscal year. Looking ahead at the ways that your office is looking to minimize those impacts, how is that going to have an impact on your office until the next fiscal year starts?
I'm glad you asked that question. At 5, what time was it?
556.
At 5:56 on Thursday evening, 5:56 on Thursday, an email went out freezing positions. Make it make sense. In a market where people are looking for jobs, and my deputies in my detention office are the lowest paid in this area, I got people in the portal to hire, and you send an email out saying freeze it. The public should be outraged on this one. We have got to get involved because the safety of this community is what we're talking about. I'm not asking for a raise. As a matter of fact, I am the lowest paid sheriff. I'm not asking for nothing of the larger counties. Of the larger counties, I'm at the bottom. But I don't do this for the money. I do this for the safety of this community. When I look at them men and these women that work here, when I walk in this building, it's my job to make sure that they got what they need. And as I said in the meeting, and when you watch the video, if you watch it, you will see that I said, my men don't wake up wanting to go do overtime. It's what we have to do. It's our job. That's what we swore to do. All I'm asking for, and the public should ask for it too, because I promise you, you heard it from the police chief. You heard it from Mr. O'Neill. The crime rates are going down. Would you get a better product? Absolutely not. And when you do that, the question becomes this: how does it affect everybody? How does it affect the businesses downtown? This is serious business, and we've got to take it just like that. We've got to have what we need to adequately show up and be able to deliver what is needed. I appreciate you all. I got time for 2 more. Yes, ma'am.
I know you've talked about this at length in the past few months. It's been, kind of a devastating situation here in Forsyth County with the stabbing at North Forsyth and just in general addressing youth crime in this area. I know it's been a headache for you, and like I said, you've talked at it at length before. How do you think the budgeting process and what you say is an under budget and not being sufficiently funded by the county has any impact, if any at all, on things like youth crime, which are so important to this community and that have garnered a lot of attention?
I have a JIT unit, Juvenile Intervention Enforcement Team, that works with Chief Penn, works with Mr. O'Neill's office. You cut my budget, I got to figure some things out. When you have these festivals here in downtown Winston, you got the Black Arts Festival coming, Arts Festival coming. People expect to be safe when they come to Winston-Salem downtown. And to say that that is a city problem? What are you saying? Let the city take care of the city. You take care of the county. You should be outraged because you pay county taxes if you live in the city. That's like saying taxation without representation. Unless you have an animal, we'll serve you. So how's it gonna affect me? It's gonna affect you if you live here. It's gonna affect all of us. Make no mistake about this. Make no mistake about what I'm finna tell you. If there's a problem in the city, eventually it'll be a problem in the county. If there's a problem in downtown Winston-Salem, eventually there'll be a problem in downtown Clemens or Louisville. Crime has no respecter of city lines. It does not. It does not. It does not. Yes, ma'am.
Can you just expand really quickly on the saturation patrols that you're helping out with on the city? What deputies are doing to actively right now to help with the city?
Oh, gosh. Yeah.
So again, we call it saturations, hotspots policing. We'll have deputies team up with the police department. The areas where members of our community are experiencing upticks in crime, we go there. We take our resources there. We root out. We find the issue. We put them in jail. You asked a question about why folks are staying in jail. So a lot of people need to stay in jail. We've been doing a much better job of keeping our most violent offenders in jail until it's time for court. Consequently, guess what? Our crime rate has gone down. So there are a lot of factors included in that. But doubling, leveraging our folks and getting out in the community and handling business lead to the numbers that were just spoken about.
You would be amazed at the number of people that, when we're out on saturation patrol, that say thank you. You'll be amazed this weekend what the business owners will feel like when they see a force multiplier downtown. You'll be amazed at how people will come out of the bars, the restaurants, and say thank you. When we're working out there together and he and I jump on one of the 4x4s or walk into, they thank us. And they will say, this is the first time we've seen this in the several years since you guys have been together. We see a difference. The difference you see over these five years is because of the teamwork you see in this room.
But Sheriff, it hasn't been just downtown. You remember we've been out in the community.
Exactly. And he hit a point. It ain't just downtown, because saturation patrol is all over. That's east, the north, the south. And I'm sure you've seen the videos online, the fight that broke out down there this weekend. I'm sure you all have seen it. Right there on the corner of 4th and whatever that is. You saw it. We had several fights this weekend. Teens. The question is simple, and I'm going home. Do you want a safe community? And if you want a safe community, there's a cost to it. There's a cost to it. Every city, every organization, every individual is the sum total of decisions they have made. And the question is simple. What is the decision that we as a community are gonna make? I thank you all for being here. I appreciate you asking that question because that's what I'll call fact checking. Thank you so much, ma'am, for bringing that to the forefront. You all have a great day. I appreciate you.